today we continue our journey through the world of Kaizo Mario Odyssey. We're gonna have to complete some very tricky sub-areas and solve some complicated puzzles now. So let's dump our moons into the Odyssey and sail back to Cap Kingdom, where we can see the unbelievable skybox again. So what do we do first? Well, most importantly, we should probably start by breaking the moon rock. I could take the Paragoomba over there, since that still exists, but nothing is supposed to be easy in this game, so I'm just gonna go ahead and trick jump over there. Just not like that. Alright, let's try this again, and perfect. Now we can break that thing open, and there's even more stuff to find. I warped up to Top Hat Tower and immediately saw a glowing spot on the wall up high. Apparently, this is where the Spin the Hat moon was moved to, but we can still get that prize. Then I tried out this sub-area over to the left, and boy did I pick a doozy of a place to start off with. This room revolves around blocks moving in and out of the wall, but the speeds they move have all been changed here. Some are much faster, and some are so slow they don't come out at all. This makes the jump after the spark pylon kind of impossible. Well, not entirely. I just have to find a way to stand on top of this thing at the end. The best way that I found was to set myself up like this, face the wall, jump out, then wall jump. From there, you should have just enough room to ground pound jump and cap dive over to the next platform. Okay, that's the first section. Now let's head up to the next level. What do we have now? A lot more stationary blocks, so a huge jump is going to be needed to get over here. Not to mention, it has to be timed right. Thankfully, this one is pretty slow, so getting the moon in there is no problem. But there's still the ending platform that has to be reached. And to get there, we have to go across these insanely quick things. It is so difficult to line your jumps up when these things stay out for like half a second. And that last jump all the way up there is incredibly far. We're definitely gonna need a triple jump to clear it. Just getting to the point where I could attempt that was hard. Cappy wouldn't work sometimes, the platform kept shoving me off, and I got clipped into the wall at one point. Man, now I know how things in my desk drawers feel. Because of that, I realized backflipping off of this one was not the strat. Well, that's why side flips are a thing. That made getting up to the last platform much more consistent, but for the life of me, I could not get a good jump pattern going. You pretty much have to have perfect rhythm to land on the platform 3 times and keep your speed going forward. I was trying this for like 20 minutes and I could not get the jump I was looking for. But after all those attempts, I finally got into it, made the jump up to where I needed to go, and then fell short and bonked. Why? I triple jumped earlier than I thought I would, so I jumped in the middle of the block instead of on the edge. All I gotta do is replicate that, but get just a bit more distance forward. And you know what? The very next attempt, that is exactly what I did. I jumped just a bit further out and had just barely enough distance to reach that moon. Wow, I have been here for so long, and I'm only at 3 total. But all of them shouldn't be that bad. Once back out, I went to the very top of the tower and saw this challenge of Seesaws with a moon at the end of it. Well, I guess I can try some platforming. These actually move very quickly and awkwardly, but if you jump immediately when landing, what can they really do to you? Then on the other side, there's more platforming, this time with danger signs. As we've learned previously, getting a triple jump off these things is very difficult because of how small it is, but I was very appreciative that none of these were so far apart that you had to do that. I can just stick to what I know, which is backflipping and making very precise landings. Getting onto all these is pretty hard, but I think I got pretty lucky here, because I managed to get the moon first try, but then failed immediately on the way back. Actually, no, I was just death warping to get back over to Koopa. Yeah, let's do the free running now. So here's the change. The goal was moved above to a hat floating over the hill. I didn't think that would be too hard to reach, so I captured a Paragoomba and flew on over. But I did not have enough height to make it from here. That's when I figured out I could use the boxes and the hat stack in the main area to go up a bit more, and now I could reach it. Honestly, after figuring that out, I had a lot of time to spare. I even messed up the jump on this attempt, but still had enough time to go back up and get first place. So both moons here were a breeze compared to the last race. Probably not gonna stay that way though. I'm nervous. Now I'm gonna jump down to the area behind the tower, but before we go into that door, there appears to be a little thing to spin my hat on. I think I see where this is going. The moon spawns all the way over on the other side of the wall, but the issue is there's no Paragoomba to fly around, and that means we need another trick jump. At least I've practiced this a few times before in previous challenges, so this was pretty simple. Alright, now let's go back and enter the sub-area. Oh man, we're clearing poison waves. This one is probably also going to be really hard. There might be no captures, but there is a platform in the middle to help out. Making the jump over there is no problem, but it also goes under the poison at times. That makes it difficult to stay alive and grab the shards around the area. Speaking of that, they were definitely a lot more hidden, some of them even in nearly impossible to survive spots. Either way, it was the last jump to the end that was the hard part. First of all, vaulting off this has to be done at just the right time, but then even after that, diving over is very precise. It basically requires a homing cap throw like this to be done, but eventually I got it down. So I could grab this shard, and then of course immediately screw up the jump after that. But it was just another death war, because now I can go back to spawn the moon at the end and get back over there to grab it. Now to that jump I mentioned. How do you get through this gate without flying? Well, actually, if you do it just right, you can land on top of the bars here, then make a crazy jump around to dive up to this platform. Well, now that we're here and I've climbed all the way up, I can long jump to the back and get the purples. Then after that, I have to get up really high for the secret moon. At first, I was struggling to get on top of this super tall thing, so I tried triple jumping from here up to the ledge, but came up a little short. Unfortunately for me, I overlooked a way to get to the tall platform. Just wall jump off it. Simple. Okay, there we go. Now getting over to where I need is very easy. And we can finally finish off another sub-area. So here's the point where I would go back inside Top Hat Tower. But first, there's the moon floating under this area. And it was way further back this time, but we still got it. Okay, now we can go inside the tower from the top and find the purples. Although, I saw some new platforms against the wall here, and they did this if you stood on top of them. So I tried again, jumping off them more quickly this time, and made it to the top to find a massive pile of coins. 765 of them to be exact. We are all stocked up. Now it was off to find the other types of coins, and most of them were hidden below the side in places like this. At least the room is not too big, so getting all of these was fine, and at the bottom waiting for us is the first timer challenge. Now, usually activating this spawns a platform across the bridge. Did not see that here, but eventually I turned around and saw a bunch of platforms going upwards. Guess we're not done with the tower just yet, so we have to make a ton of ground pound jumps and dives without Cappy. This makes it very difficult to aim where to go, and the fact that you have to go quickly doesn't help. After a few fails, I tried getting a quick start with a spin pound, and then really making sure I was lined up on each jump. This made it so I had just enough time to get there. Okay, now we can really jump back down and start exploring. First, I flew around with the Paragoomba and got some purples, but I had one specific thing on my mind, the hint art from Mushroom. I know it has to be here, but what exactly does this mean? I thought it was referring to the hats out in the void, and the frogs and the monitors here were my reference points. None of that seemed right though, so I flew to the center area, and it started to make sense. The top hats in the picture are all of these. Cappy's friend is on top of that one, and the frog refers to the fact that you need one to jump up this tower. That means the star has to be on this guy, but it's not in the back like the picture would show. That's because I guess someone could accidentally find that. The real star is way more hidden, because you have to ground pound the top of the pole. That is insane, but you know what? It felt good figuring that out. Since that hint art is marked off, how about we look at the next one? Let's memorize that for the future. I thought at this point it was important to keep flying around and keep track of who's on the hats out in the void. Turns out both Peach and Captain Toad are here, not too far from each other. Both of them can be talked to just barely without killing the Paragoomba, so we can use him to fly back over to where we were. And I'll try out this sub-area. The previous two were so difficult, but this time there's no pit and no poison. Right away here, I just have to mention the amazing spot for the secret moon, because it actually uses this gap in the wall that was so pointless before, I doubt many people even know about about it. Then, of course, the 5 shards here were much more spread out than usual. But compared to everything we've already done, this was a walk in the park. Now that we're back outside, I can jump up to the binoculars and spawn the taxi moon. That's basically the same spot, but now the moon goes under this area. I'm sure I can just make this jump over to grab it, right? Yeah, we're fine. Alright, I think it's time now to go on Cappy's scavenger hunt for his lost moon. First, we have to go to Under Sometimes Bridge. I don't know what in the heck that means. Is it the bridge you raise at the start? Because that would imply it's only there sometimes? I guess that makes sense. And now the southern side of the platform under the world's best hat stand. Are you talking about the shop with this? No, there's no platforms under here. Do you mean one of these hats in the void, or the huge stack of them? No, the south side of these does nothing. I spent way too long figuring this one out, but finally I realized it means Top Hat Tower and the platform under it. Okay, so under the single crate now. That should be pretty easy. Next to Glass's Bridge, and now he remembers we go straight northeast. That leads us back to the direction of the bridge. Okay, it's right here. Come on, just gotta feel the rumble, and there we go. Wow, that was an adventure. I want to try the second timer challenge now. This one has platforms that do this. That means we have to do some ground pound jumps at the right time. But the thing is, this key seems practically ungrabbable on the first jump. I just kept missing it somehow, and I don't know why. On the third try, I was able to throw Cappy like this and dive to the second spot, which gave me plenty of time to get up. Even if there were a few slips in there, it was no problem. One more challenge here in town right next to it. The notes. These are spread out into a bunch of groups again, but either there was no timer or it was very generous because I found all of them on the first try. That is not supposed to happen, right? Hey, I'm not complaining. So now let's get back in the Paragoombas for more stuff. We can snipe that bird flying right by us and get a little extra height to sort of this hat, which has the Bonneter, who is definitely not afraid of this enemy. Now there's pretty much just a few simple moons left. This involves the one under Glass's Bridge and catching the bunny by the Odyssey, which goes a little bit faster now. At this point, I just need 3 more purple coins. Should probably just be one more group lying around, and oh, look at that, jackpot. Now that we're completed on these, let's first celebrate with some frog platforming. First up, there's these blocks out in the void, which takes a very careful landing. Then we can maneuver up the rest of the invisible ones for that moon high up, and also take a frog into town to finally climb this huge hat stack just like we were always supposed to. There's just one more hidden moon on the map I need to find, and the X was telling me it was over in this location, but this is just on the platform where the fog-shrouded moon usually is. I couldn't get the new moon from that. While I brainstormed what to do, I bought the moon from the shop in this kingdom and bought some more souvenirs with all the regional coins. But how were we gonna solve this problem? It appears that the spot on the map did not move to where the harder moon is, so it's just completely hidden from me. I have no indication of where it is. Maybe our pal Talkatoo can point us in the right direction, assuming he says the moon we're looking for. Okay, this one looks to be it. Remains of an old pylon. You know, some of you watching may know exactly where it is from that, but for me, it took a little bit for it to click. I was thinking, what type of pylon does that mean? And now what? It's just not there anymore? Eventually, I had to go to Google, and I looked up pylons in Cap Kingdom. Guess what I saw? A spark pylon. How did I not see it before? The capture you use to leave here at the start of the game. On future visits, it's gone, and just this spot is left, which means we are in there. Finally figured it out. I grabbed that moon, ran back down to the moon pipe I was saving for last, and had to complete the rolling sub area. Also, in my opinion, one of the easier ones, even if the moons were a little difficult to grab being off the platforms. But after just a couple tries, that was done, and Cap Kingdom was completed. I really enjoyed this kingdom. There were so many creative moons here, and also some that really tested my skill. We still have a long way to go before getting every moon in this game, but we're getting there, and I'm loving this journey. For now, that's all I got. Thank you all so much for watching, and I will see you next time. Take care, everyone.